Okay, greetings and welcome, family, to Magnets, Crystals, and Pyramids. Thank you for being patient. I can see that the days of summer, the days are actually getting shorter because the sun is already starting to set. Um, we have an interesting show for you tonight. Um, and without further ado, first I want to give a special shout out to Brother Baraka. He just did a new intro that we're getting ready to play for the opening right now. So stand by, family. Let us begin.
Calling out the warrior in you, the healer in you, the king, the queen in you, the trickster in you. Every single day, we are called to walk in our purpose. Answer the call. Lay down your burden and anything that's holding you back and take your rightful place. The battle is everywhere and it's right in your face. Let's go.
Welcome to Magnets, Crystals, and Pyramids. Success is your destiny. Yes. Love, wisdom, power. Remember, yes, always who you are. Yes, yes, I am. Love, wisdom, power. Yes, yes, I am. Love, yes, power. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Love, wisdom, power. Yes, yes, I am. Love, wisdom, power. Master. Yes, I am. Yes, love, wisdom, power. Yes, I am. Say yes to yourself. Yes, I am. Protected. Yes, I am. Master. I am. Yes. Okay. Thank you again, Brother Baraka, for that opening. I want to thank all the listening audience now and in the future. Thank you for being born. Thank you for being alive. Thank you for surviving the formative years between conception and seven. Between the ages of conception and seven, we are programmed for better or worse. And many of our parents are trauma survivors from the post-apocalyptic experiences of their parents and their parents' parents. So how do we break the cycle? Some say therapy, some say psychedelics, some say intentional affirmations. And the highest form of affirmations that I have experienced to date goes beyond any surface religion on the planet at present. It is the science of saying the words I am. In you calling forth, just saying the words, yes, I am, you literally have, when you say those words, every proton, neutron, electron turns and says a self realized God or goddess is speaking. Let us do their bidding. So I was taught by who is now an ancestor, Sister Denise Wilson L., who I met out of South Florida back in the early 80s. The word originally, not speaking of the Arab version of Islam, but speaking of the pre-Islamic version or the pre-Arabic version of Islam. The word Islam means I, self, Lord, am master. So that means, yes, you are a god. Yes, you are a goddess. And as the Sufi said, the presence of the One Most High lives not in the sky with his feet dangling, keeping tabs on everything everyone's doing. It's closer because God has a sense of humor. Buried in our hearts is the One Most High that also exists everywhere. We are the like goldfish in the bowl of water with amnesia to our true nature of the waters that we swim and live in. And so, when the cycle of time that we are living on the earth's surface, you have very young, ignorant souls who have incarnated. And that's why we see so much collective chaos, and especially even young souls in the places of rulership on the earth's surface in the form of energy, obsolete energy being used in the form of, as Nikolai Tesla say, coal, oil, or gas, the short-sightedness of the young souls of the hidden world rulers. They're doing everything according to their young soul ignorance, still using rubber tires when the technology of levitation exists everywhere outside the prison atmosphere of our planet. We are the only planet for surround in the galaxy. I'm going to say that we are the only planet in the galaxy still using coal, oil-based fuel, and rubber tires. Nobody else is using that. And then we get so excited out of our ignorance when you have the leaders start to say, yes, there are UFOs, as the military is now acknowledging, the governments of the world are now acknowledging, yes, there are flying technology that goes beyond our earthbound prison planet chicken head physics that existed in the golden ages of antiquity. Speaking of ancient India, ancient Atlantis, ancient Egypt, they didn't use rubber tires to build the great pyramids and the monumental sites, megaliths throughout the world. They didn't leave tracks of rubber tires. This is a recent invention of young, ignorant souls that happen to commandeer direction of the planet experience at this time. And I've heard also that we're in the age of darkness, of Kali Yuga. So you have to take everything lightly. You have been, my brothers and sisters, yes, speaking to all my brothers and sisters, regardless of the color of your spacesuit, you've been banned to Boogie Land on planet Earth at this particular time for the purpose of lifting yourself by the bootstraps by invoking your I am magnificence. If you have chaos and calamity in your life, you have to call on your I am fire to align so that you move out of the frequency of a pebble or river rock, disorganized on a molecular level, and move into your crystalline structure. Move into your crystal light that shines from within your heart. Because many of us are young, brat-like, immature souls in spacesuits known as the physical body, oblivious, ignorant of the laws of karma in all that we do, say, and experience. So, now that that has been said, let us move into this show tonight. Let's call on our I am within. I am in me. I am in you. I am in the sea of life. I call upon our ascended master ancestors, Saint Germain, Nikolai Tesla, Sheikh Ahmadou Bamba, Sheikh Ibrahim, Simeon Toko, Sanat Kumara, Akhenaten, Imhotep, Ptahhotep, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, Marcus Mosiah Garvey, P.B. Randolph, Shroom Master Kalindi Aye, Shroom Master Dr. George Washington Carver, Shroom Master Harriet Tubman, all the Shroom shamans, Credo Mutwa, South African Zulu shaman, call upon Quetzalcoatl, Yahshua, Black Madonna, Mother Mary, call upon White Buffalo Calf Woman, Chief Seattle, Chief Sitting Bull, Nat Turner, John Brown, be with us on the show tonight. Calling on Elijah, Buddha, Krishna, calling upon ascended masters of the earth's interior to hear our collective invocation. May I am love supreme, as John Coltrane played so eloquently throughout time and space, be manifest in our particular life streams. We call upon Enoch the Ethiopian, who ascended into the heavens and became Metatron. We call upon Angel of Protection to be with all our family, friends, and loved ones. Archangel Michael, Angel of Healing, Archangel Raphael, Archangel Gabriel. Keep us close, guide us as we stumble, rock and roll through this life. And may we always embrace the spirit of Ho'oponopono with the words, I'm sorry, please forgive me. I love you, thank you. And know that we can wash clean the canvas of our experience with those 4 words. Mahalo, mahalo. That means in the African Hawaiian system, thank you. We say ashe. All right, I want to acknowledge Patolo Bay, Eon El Tempo, Richie Rich, Hourglass Healer. Can't imagine why your name's Hourglass Healer. Fernando, King Rumi. Okay. And we say together, Ashe. All right, families. 8:28. It's time to call up Professor Bay. He's going to drop science. Oh, we got more folks. Okay, Ashanti, acknowledge. And also want to acknowledge C. Lambo. Peace. All right. Let me call him now. Professor Bay. Here we go. We're going to give him the floor.
Yes, greetings and peace to the gods.
Peace, peace. Professor Bay, thank you for being patient. We had a delay in the startup. Okay, man, you got the whole floor. Do your thing.
All right, thank you, sir. Once again, I thank you, brother, for bringing me on. And I'm going to do the prayer, and then we're going to get into the show. You can hear me clear, Hank?
Nice and clear.
Thank you, sir.
Y'all can hear him?
Allah is the greatest, Allah is the greatest, Allah is the greatest, Allah is the greatest. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. I bear witness that there is no deity but Allah. I bear witness that there is no deity but Allah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. I bear witness that Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. I bear witness that Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. Hayya ala salah, Come to prayer. Come to prayer. Come to your good. Come to your good. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allah is the greatest. Allah is the greatest. La ilaha illallah. There is no deity but Allah. Come to your good. As-salatu khairan min an-nawm. As-salatu khairan min an-nawm. Prayer is better than sleep. Prayer is better than sleep. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. Peace be upon thee and Allah's blessings. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. Peace be upon thee and Allah's blessings. Thank you, family, for that. Let me read you a scripture from the Bible and the Quran. This is in Psalms 83. Psalms 83, verse 1. Do not keep silent, O Creator. Do not hold your peace. Verse 2. For behold, your enemies make a tumult, and those who hate you have lifted up their heads. Verse 3. They have taken crafty counsel against your people and consulted together against your sheltered ones. Verse 4. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be remembered no more. Verse 5. For they have consulted together with one consent. They form a confederacy against you. Verse 6. The tenth of Edom and the Ishmaelites, Moab and the Hegrites. Verse 7. Gebal, Ammon, and Amalek, Philistia, with the inhabitants of Tyre. Verse 8. Assyria also joined with them. They have helped the children of Lot. That is the Bible. The Holy Quran. And verse, bear with me. This is the Holy Quran. Find this one specifically. This is the Holy Quran, chapter 7, section 13:100. It is not clear to those who inherit the earth after its former residence that if we please, we would afflict them for their sins and steer their hearts so they would not hear. Verse 101. Such were the towns, some of whose news we have related to thee, and certainly their messengers came to them with clear arguments, but they would not believe what they had rejected before. Thus does Allah seals the hearts of the disbelievers. Verse 102. And we found not in most of them faithfulness to covenant. And we found most of them to be transgressors. Verse 103. Then after them, we sent Moses with our messages to Pharaoh and his chiefs, but they disbelieved them. See then what was the end of the mischief makers. Verse 104. And Moses said, O Pharaoh, surely I am a messenger from the creator of the worlds. Verse 105. Worthy of not saying anything about Allah except the truth. I have come to you indeed with clear proof from your creator. So let the children of Israel go with me. Verse 106. He said, if thou hast come with a sign, produce it. If thou art true. Verse 107. So he threw his rod, then lo, it was a certain manifest. Verse 108. And he drew forth his hand, and lo, it was white to the beholder. Verse 109. The chief of Pharaoh's people said, surely this is a skillful enchanter. 110. He intends to turn you out of your land. What do you advise? Verse 11. 111. They said, put him off and his brother, and send summoners into the city. That is the Quran. All right, family. Thank you once again, Mr. Hank, for bringing me on your show.
Ashe, ashe.
And it's maybe a part two, I don't know yet, but I consider. All right, family. This is the topic is the Declaration of Nation State Express Trust Banking System. Now, I'm going to give you all a little history first, and then it gets into something of the show from last week. And where you all are at now, some of you who have done their trust, and I want you all to understand, I have always been talking to you all about nation state. And now you all coming to the end of the road with this, where you all gonna have to learn how to do banking. I'm not talking about that kind of banking where you're going into the bank and making deposits and all of that. Not that kind of banking. See, we always been complaining that we want to be free. Now, this is your opportunity. But you're going to have to all that you learned in the past, all your degrees you got, put them up on the shelf somewhere and leave them there. Those are not going to help you. You're going to have to learn how to do banking. If most of you all have that National Currency Act, it'll tell you how you have to set up a bank. Now, all of our life, we've been given securities. We've been giving them money. Let me say that one more time. We have been giving them more money ever since the day we was birthed, out of our mother's womb. We never were debtors. We were always the creditors. The money has always streamed from the birth certificate. This is how they create the Federal Reserve notes. This is where it comes from the bond, which is, we call it a certificate of security, called a birth certificate, called a bond. And the only way that they can do business with us was take us from the land just so leave, birthright to the soil, and put us into a corporation called the United States Federal Corporation, 1871 Organic Act. It's a municipal corporation for profit to do business. Now, let's get into it. You can hear me clear, Brother Hank?
Yeah, it sounds good. Perfect.
Thank you, sir. All right. The United States of America has always been a corporation because it is a confederacy. Keep that word in mind. It is a league or a compact between two or more persons, body of men, or states for mutual support or common action. Alliance. This confederacy was put together by delegates from, listen to the states, Connecticut, Delaware, Georgia, Maryland, Massachusetts, referred to in the articles as Massachusetts Bay, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New York, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, referred to as Rhode Island and the province plantations, South Carolina, and Virginia. These are all the states of the United States that form this alliance, that set up this corporation called the United States Federal Corporation. These are the 13 original states of the United States that form an alliance set up this municipal corporation called the District of Columbia, doing business as the United States Federal Corporation. They all got together and did a contract. The contract was called a confederation. It became the United States of America, styled as a confederacy. That is all the states working together to do international commerce. It was always a corporation on a piece of paper. How can you be a citizen on a piece of paper? So, in the Republic, you are still a piece of paper. In a democracy, they claim it is a government. The United States of America is a confederacy put together by our ancestors. We, as an extension of our ancestors, are the only ones who can reconstitute it and give order, meaning bring it back. Republic is ruled by the people majority of the people who live in North America, are carbonated people called African Americans, Black, colored, and so-called Negroes. Democracy is based on gang rule, where only a few control and rule everyone by threat of weaponry. Now, the Articles of Confederation and Perpetual Union was an agreement among the 13 original states of the United States of America that served as its first constitution. It was approved after much debate by the Second Continental Congress on November 15th, 1777. And sent to the state for ratification. This was a league of alliance as a contract on paper. This was a compact for Caucasian people called state or sovereign citizen to do international commerce. Now, the certificate of live birth was recorded in your county record. The birth certificate was given over to the state to be registered as a bond for working capital in each state and then transferred to the United States Federal Corporation Depository Trust Company, also to be registered and placed into the international open market to conduct commerce. This is part of the lie of you and I being naturalized in your birth state. However, this is where they were stealing our birthrights to the soil called Jussolee. The only way they could do business and generate wealth in each state with the Aborigines/Moors was through trickery, deception, and non-disclosure with our parents through the birth certificate process. This was a design scheme to take away our name, race, and nationality, and disenfranchise us as being Moors and put under an illusion as being 14th Amendment, which is the citizens, and the 15th Amendment, which is the voting, to disenfranchise us from being Moors into being Negroes and with all our rights. We have not been able to vote since 1876 because we had no republic form of government. The 14th Amendment did not free us, but only enslaved us. The republic was the states, and the state of states are sitting on top of the indigenous people land called Moors. The federal government was never a federal government. It was always a contract between the states to do international commerce with each other. It was a confederation where each delegation from each state, hold on, got together and formed a trust document. You see what it says? They formed a trust document and they started doing international commerce. They band together to protect and secure our borders because it strengthened their numbers. And that is called a confederacy. Everyone in the republic was under trust law. Now, the state citizens called Caucasian people, they were beneficiaries of the trust and had certain things they needed to perform. However, these same provisions in the state did not apply to Moors. What provisions applied to Moors were the treaties they had with their confederation called the United States of America. In order to get you back to those treaties, you must petition the court going in as the real party of interest and claim your name, race, and nationality. As a Moor, as Moors, this is how we bring back the republic, and all of your commerce is unmolested under the treaties. Furthermore, every Moor has a right to sue the United States Corporation in commerce, especially if the United States Federal Corporation did not hold up to their treaties. The United States statutes become treaties when you are a Moor or foreign national. Keep in mind that the Pledge of Allegiance is for Caucasian people called state citizens. They have been always telling you and me in their Pledge of Allegiance that this is and always has been a republic form of government. They did not borrow money from the bankers under the Confederacy because our ancestors limited them to what gave them certain things that they can do under commerce. We gave them that banner, red, white, and blue, old glory. And we gave them certain things that we wanted them to do. That's why they wanted to ratify it. But remember, our ancestors told them that this was a perpetual union. That means there was no end to it. And those articles of confederations, articles of associations are into effect right now, but you and I have to come back to being Moors, Aborigines to the land and get in our own nation state in order to bring that republic form of government back. Now, what you all have to understand is this. Give me 1 minute. I want to break this down also to you all. Now, all of our lives we've been told it's a document. And this document is called Resolution 75. This is the part that is confusing to a lot of the Moors, because this is the document, the very document that it indoctrinated us with. And I'm going to read the document to you all and give you some clarity to it. 1933, Legislative Journal, House, page 5759, Resolution number 75. Mr. Wickens, Mr. Speaker, I desire at this time to call up Resolution number 75, printers number 1034. The resolution was read by the clerk as follows. In the House of Representatives, April 17, 1933, look at the year. Many sons and daughters of that proud and handsome race which inspired the architects of North Africa and carried into Spain the influence of his artistic temperaments, have become citizens of this nation. Right there. Citizens of the United Nations. That's the nation that they're referring to. In the city of Philadelphia, there existed a Moorish American society made up of Moors who have found here the ends of their quest for a home, and of the children of those who journeyed here from the plains of Morocco. Now, you all probably thinking that they're talking about Morocco over there in Africa. No, no, no. When they say Morocco, they're talking about the city of Philadelphia. That's what they're talking about there. They're not talking about no Morocco over there in Spain, which is a corporation. You see, we've been duped with this Resolution 75. I'm going to read it again. In the city of Philadelphia, there exists a Moorish American society made up of Moors who have found here the end of their quest for a home, and of the children of those who journeyed here from the plains of Morocco. This society has done much to bring about a thorough absorption by these people of those principles which are necessary to make them good American citizens. See right there? Good American citizens. And when they talk about a thorough absorption, they're talking about how we robbed us of our name, race, and nationality, our culture. So they're talking about a thorough brainwash. And this is why we are in the predicament that we're in, is because we don't realize the true teachings of Noble Drew Ali. Now, I'm going to go on. These Moorish Americans have since being here missed the use of the titles and name annexation that were so familiar at home, and which, see, familiar at home, Philadelphia, and which are used in accordance with the doctrines of the religious faith to which they were adherent. Therefore, be it resolved that this house commends the Moorish American Society, see, of Philadelphia for the efficient service it has rendered the nation in bringing about a speedy and thorough Americanization. See, that's that 14th Amendment. African American, black, colored, and Negroes, of these former Moors. See that word? They're calling you now former Moors. And that in accordance with the fullest rights of religious independence, guaranteed every citizen, we recognize also the right of these people to use the name of Bix, El, or Ali, or Bey, or any other prefix or suffix to which they have heretofore been accustomed to use, or which they may hereafter acquire the right to use. So in other words, you all have these names, Bey, Day, El, Ali, Allah. But the problem is, you all talk about part and parcel. Ain't no damn part and parcel. You not take the spiritual name and you go back to the beast system, Social Security Administration, and you give them the damn name again, and they put the damn name in the database and attach that social to you again. Let me remind you, I don't give a damn how much you say you are Bey, El, Day, Allah, Ali. No, you're not. You are a U.S. citizen because you're carrying that Social Security number. I hope I make it clear. You are former Moors until you come from under that corporation called the United States. I ain't made it up. That's what the resolution said, how they thoroughly brainwashed us. A thorough absorption. Look that word up, absorption. Meaning what you used to have, they took that away and made you 14th Amendment. And Prophet Noble Jew Ali told you in the 1866 Civil Rights Act, there was no need for no 14th Amendment when you already had your rights. You see? So now, and you in these temples, yes, you are religious. You're just like Christians. You're a religious sect. How I know that? I look at those cards you got, 501c3. That's government regulated. How you gonna say part and parcel when you're still up under the corporation? I really don't get that one there. I really don't. You sit here and say you're Moors, but you're not that. You're a U.S. citizen. Refute me wrong on it, because this is what Resolution 75 is saying. You're former Moors. Now, but if you notice something, when you're doing the process with me, I don't tell you to go down to Social Security and attach no damn number to the new name that you just got and put yourself right back into slavery. Now, but what you all didn't know, when you were doing the SS4, that agent on the other end of that phone was expatriating you from up under the United States, whether you knew it or not, because they asked you certain questions and you answered those questions based upon how I filled out that SS4 for you to get your 98 number. So why would I tell you to go back down to Social Security Administration and attach a number to the name, which makes you a 14th Amendment all over again? You see, this is how I know. I told you all, everybody out there got information, but they don't have application. And they putting you right back into the lion's mouth. Why? It's because they don't know. They become at a certain point and they don't know how to move forward. You see, there's a saying. He who controls the circumference of your activity controls the diameter of your knowledge. You see? So this is what has happened to us. Everybody running around, information, and talking about we Moors, and then you still got a Social Security number. How is that? Make me understand. Is it something I'm really missing? Hell, they already gave you one when you was a baby. Now you as an adult, you want to go back down there? Show me. Either one or two things. You don't know what you're doing? Are you an imposter? You are government agents, whether you know it or not. And if you're telling people to go down there and get these numbers, I don't care if you're a sheikh over the temple or what, that's wrong way of telling the people how to be private. You see, I don't teach y'all that way. Now, I hope you all understand this resolution. This resolution is what indoctrinated us and put us into slavery. More into slavery. This didn't get us free. That's why I always told you this was Morocco, always have been Morocco. Your headquarters is Philadelphia. Now, you say, well, Brother Ben, I heard all that. Now, what does that have to do with your topic? Well, again, as I stated earlier, when we were born, they took a bond. And they took the name, the in-legis name, and attached it to the bond. And our mother signed us over into slavery. Now, but that bond has value to it. See, they took the Federal Reserve notes and attached it to the bond. Let me give you proof. You say, oh, babe, you're making up stuff right now. Oh, let me prove it to you then. Let me give you some proof. Take like you women who got these babies, who got them children. You say ain't no man around. So you go down to children and family. You tell them you need assistance, right? There are 2 requirements for you to get their assistance. Those 2 requirements, I know most of you women know what I'm talking about, but I'm going to say it anyway. It's that birth certificate and the social security number. Those are the 2 requirements that you have to give them in order to get what you're asking for, any assistance. Now the question is, why are they asking for that? Why? See, this is why I told you all that child support is a damn fraud. So whether man is not there or not, when you gave birth to the child, you had already, out of your ignorance, gave it over to the state. So the state say, I'm the mother and the father. And that's why anytime they wanted to, they come snatch them children from you anytime they want. Because you're receiving the benefits. They're taking your credit, your money, as their credit, money, giving it to you. That's what these wicked beasts are doing. Giving you some welfare, some assistance they call it. And you can't have no man in the house if you want to get these assistance. That's your credit, your money. Because the only way they can generate it is with that straw man name, your signature as your accommodated party, signing on behalf of that in legis, which is a trust that they put up under their corporation. I told you that they're a confederacy. They're here to do business, banking, international commerce. Now, why is the banking system in limbo? And let me say this to y'all. I know all of you been getting them stimulus checks. But let me tell you something.
It's a setup.
You know, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was a wise little man. And he said the devil never give you nothing with strings attached to it. So y'all really think the children is not like their fathers of yesterday, because they can put on a suit and tie and shave up clean and look like somebody when his ass came up out of the hillsides and caves of Europe. So they always trick you. You know they always play the key. I don't know why y'all don't get, and then you be mad with him when he fuck you over. You know he's the devil. That's what Elijah told you. You didn't like it, but he didn't lie to you. He told you they were your enemy, and they show you every day they are. And see, some of you don't like it. I don't give a damn whether you like it or not. I don't care. Because you already know that you're your enemy. I don't have to tell you that. It's the way they deal with us. That's all the proof I need to know. Now, the National Currency Act is the law that tells and shows how to execute the birth certificate bond. But that patriot community was telling you, oh, you got to go to the Treasury Direct. That's where your accounts are. Bullshit. You never had no Treasury Direct account. Your county is the ones that issued that bond. The county. And then they gave it over to the state. And the state gave it over to the DTC to put it on the international market to accumulate funds. This is the master bond that was issued and connected to the currencies of Federal Reserve notes. See, I just told you that. Those Federal Reserve notes you got in your pocket are connected to your birth certificate master bond. I hope you heard that. On the other hand, all currency come directly from the birth certificate bond. Now, who are the true creditors of these United States bonds? The name and the number that makes the security that creates the credit and currency. It has always been the name of the straw man with a social security number and your signature on behalf of the straw man to create the United States bond. I informed you all before that the first, middle, and last name is only a name for doing business in commerce. I did a whole show on that. I told you all that. Those are not your real names, first, middle, last, or first and last. Furthermore, when you personate the straw man, see, we've impersonated the straw man all of our life. By acting as the straw man and signing as an accommodated party on behalf of the straw man, you were creating currency and credit for the United States Federal Corporation and all of her agencies and instrumentalities and municipalities called counties. Who is an accommodated party? This is what they say. What an accommodated party is. One who signs a commercial paper for the purpose of lending his or her name and credit to another party to document the accommodated party to help that party obtain a loan or an extension of credit. In other words, is you that's personating the straw man in the name of the straw man, signing on behalf of the straw man. You are the creditor that they are referring to, what I just read. This is what our parents did out of their ignorance. You and I have always been the bankers, giving currency and credit to the United States bonds. In modern time, they are trying to make you and I the slaves to the United States Federal Corporation debt by making you the constitutor to all her bonds that have been created by us in the past up until now. And some of you all, you took that money, you took that stimulus, and you ain't in no trust. What you think gonna happen? What do you think gonna happen? You ain't got to take my word for it. I already know. And if you ain't set up into a trust, it ain't going to look good for you. See, they always need us to make money, to create that money. That Federal Reserve note. They always need you and I, and that signature, and that name. Now, authentication of the birth certificate has put a halt to the bank's fractional reserve banking because the bond has been pulled out from their system when you annex the bond out of the United States. In other words, you all thought I was just telling y'all to authenticate that birth certificate just to be doing it. This is the problem now for the corporation. They in limbo because they got to sort out who are the 14th Amendments and who are the U.S. citizens. This is what they're doing now. As I'm talking to you, because right now they can't fractionalize now. Because some of us have created that promissory note and put that $9 billion lien on that straw man. And there's a new sheriff in town that owns the straw man with the lien on it. And you already know who that new sheriff is. It's called the Express Trust. What is fractional reserve banking? Fractional reserve banking is a system in which only, let me get it right, a fraction of the bank deposits are backed by actual cash on hand and available for withdrawal. This is done to theoretically expand the economy by freeing capital for lending. So in other words, if you're going into the bank and you're going to put $100 into that bank account, only $10 the bank going to keep in the reserve, and the $90 is going to be excessive reserve, meaning they have the option of doing whatever they want to do with those $90. See? But let me show you how really slick they are. Banks are required to keep on hand a certain amount of cash that depositors give them. But banks are not required to keep the entire amount on hand, as I just explained in that example. $100 in, $90 out, $10 stays in the bank account. That's fractional reserve. This is why they don't have to keep creating any Federal Reserves. Often, banks are required to keep some portion of deposits on hand, as I just said, which is known as bank reserve. Some banks are exempt from holding reserves, but all banks are paid a rate of interest on reserves. You have put a halt on the bank's fractional reserve banking by authenticating the birth certificate on both state and federal level and did a counter deed of the bond. And by doing this, you have put the bond under the ownership of the Express Trust with a lien on it, with a promissory note, because you had to create a borrower and a lender. This put the bank in limbo from fractional lending against the straw man. You did this by creating a promissory note by having the Express Trust lender loan out money to the straw man borrower in the amount of $9 billion. The $9 billion is what I am ordering them to take from the straw man's account bond, so it can back up the $9 billion claim of lien that was put on the straw man. I hope y'all follow me. You must be into the trust. You must have a lien on the straw man. You must have a promissory note, which is the security. $9 billion. Lean on the straw man. Some of you are probably saying, baby, you exaggerating that amount. No, I'm not. Look at their deficits. They're in the trillions. And they ran that up through using your bond. And let me ask you this then. Did you get any benefits from it? Hell to the no. I thought so. The Federal Reserve banking system achieves its policy objectives through purchases of securities. Did you hear that? That's their objective, is the purchase of securities, which was your bond, birth certificate, in the open market. Payments for the securities adds to the bank's reserve. See, I told you this is how they create the money, the credit, by the purchase of a security. I just told you you got to put a promissory note of lien on the straw man. I told you all how to grow up now. You can't keep running back to your so-called slave master begging from the crumbs from his table. After a while, he's not going to have no use for you. Now, this is how you and I were scammed by the bank. Remember, in Modern Money Mechanic on page 6, last paragraph, this is what it says. Listen up. Of course, they do not, when they say they're talking about the banks. They do not really pay out loans from the money they receive as deposits. See, when you give them a promissory note, you gave them an asset that they're going to go put in another bank, which they're going to now create money. If they did this, no additional money would be created. What the bank do when they make loans to accept promissory notes in exchange for credit to the borrower's transaction account. The creditor they talking about you. I told you got to write a promissory note. The express trust, the lender, and the straw man is the borrower. So I'm taking you opposite in reverse of what they did again to us when we were born. This is why I say the banks are in limbo. Let me show you how deposits, expansion, and redistribution of wealth works. When the DTC purchases securities from the county's coffers increase. This happens because the county's selling of the securities receive payments from the DTC buyer by selling of the bond on the open market. In other words, they're greasing each other's palms. One hand washes the other. The DTC in return get dividends payout from the county for their selling of the bond on the open market. Your bond, your master bond. You and I have always been the bankers in commerce. We have been creating securities of our master bond, which is the birth certificate. And it is a United States bond. You were taught that the master bond was created in Washington, D.C. That's what you always taught. But that's a lie. The District of Columbia, called Washington, D.C., had nothing to do with your birth certificate. It wasn't issued by them. When I went into the court and came from under that corporation, that's what I had to explain to that judge. He told me, I can correct the name, but the other two, you got to go to the federal. I said, objection. If you can do one, you can do the other two, which makes three. Now, we have been creating securities of our master bond, which is that birth certificate, and it is the United States bond. You were taught that the master bond was created in Washington, D.C. You and I are a part of your birth state that makes bonds on behalf of the United States. See? In other words, it's your county and your state that makes the bonds on behalf of the United States Federal Corporation. That's why your states are called the state of Florida, state of New York, state of Georgia, state of California, state of Colorado. You see? The state of Florida is one of the states united as part of the United States. So your state of Florida is also a part of the United States. If you are redeeming securities or bonds, who do you give it to? Who do you give it to? You give it to the comptroller of the currency of your state. This is when you're doing banking. You're going to have to deal with the comptroller of the currency. And you're going to have 5 members that got to set up that bank. And you're going to have to do a declaration called the Articles of Confederation, the Articles of Association. And you got to give that to the comptroller in your state. And the comptroller is regulated by the Secretary of the Treasury. He has to report to the Secretary of the Treasury. The Secretary of the Treasury is the one who holds the lawful money. The comptroller is the one who regulates the currency. So if you are redeeming securities or bonds, who do you give it to? Give it to the comptroller of the currency of your state. The full faith and credit clause allows you to do commerce. Y'all know about that full faith and credit clause that's in that birth certificate, that authenticated birth certificate. If you are doing redemption, you must have a seal. Y'all know y'all got to get a seal, right? You got to have the seal. I know some of you scratching your head right now. You're probably saying, oh boy, this is a lot of work. Well, if you want to be free from massa, you're going to have to reprogram, deprogram, and step up to the plate. Put on your big girl britches, big boys britches, and come on, get your freedom, justice, and equality. They ain't giving it to you. You're going to have to work for it. What is Grant Subsidized Capital Ready Program? I'm going to read that again. What is Grant Subsidized Capital Ready Program? This means your Express Trust will be certifying bonds as a bank to do business from the private side of the ledger of the Express Trust. In other words, you're going to be issuing money to the public, because only the private ones can use the public money. The Express Trust is considered the private sector to help generate and stimulate monies in the public sector or open market to create jobs. So all corporations, LLCs, partnerships, or sole proprietorships need private funding to generate monies into the public sector or open market. Furthermore, all corporations, LLCs, partnerships, or sole proprietorship need the express trust to back the new money soon becoming available. Did y'all hear what I just said? The new money. Go back to Rule 144A. The QIB, Qualified Institutional Buyers. Boy, I know y'all saying, boy, well, I cocked it up over there. Y'all know what y'all get with me. I bring you the real deal. Now, the birth certificate is executed by units of silver and gold in the coffer account. A trust indenture is an agreement in a bond contract made between a bond issuer, you again, the creditor, you're issuing the bond, express trust, trustee of the express trust, and a trustee, you, that represents the bondholder, which is the express trust, interest by highlighting the rules and responsibility that each party must adhere to. In other words, those 5 people you're going to need: executive, president, secretary, CEO. Oh, yeah. It may also indicate where the income stream for the bond is derived from. Y'all know what income stream is. I told y'all giving these corporations, every time y'all go out and use your debit card, your credit card, them Federal Reserve notes, you're giving them income. Remember, the Express Trust was started, y'all probably remember this now. The Express Trust was started with silver coins expressed inside the trust minutes, because silver coins will back up the bonds that the Express Trust that you will be using to pay off debts with private money. That's why in there, I expressed it in the silver coins. See, ain't nothing, no coincidence why it's in there. Now you know. On the other hand, Federal Reserve notes are public trust instruments used in the public to discharge debt. It started with the goldsmiths as early bankers. They initially provided safekeeping services, making a profit from vault storage fees for hold and coin deposits with them. People would redeem their deposit receipts whenever they needed gold or coins to purchase something, and physically take the gold or coins to the seller, who in turn would deposit them for safekeeping. Often with the same banker, everyone soon found that it was a lot easier simply to use the deposit receipts directly as a means of payment. These receipts, which became known as notes, but it was a con game, were acceptable as money. See? Con game, like the con man. So the receipts, I'm going to read it again. These receipts, which became known as notes, like that Federal Reserve note you carry in your pocket that you think is money, were acceptable as money, since whoever held them could go to the banker and exchange them for metallic money. Then bankers discovered, check this out, then bankers discovered that they could make loans merely by giving a promise to pay when they didn't give you a damn thing, but a promise to say they'll pay. Now, you all got to understand, what we're doing is some deep stuff. now they're in limbo. They didn't figure that we would get this far. We'll be trying to get them conference. And they know we are close. Now, let me just finish this first. Then bankers discovered that they could loan merely by giving their promise to pay or banknotes to borrowers. So see what they're saying. When you went running down to the bank, when you wanted that house, right? They took your promissory note and converted it into money and put it on their books as an asset, acting as if they gave you a loan, but in essence, on the other hand, you gave them a loan and you didn't even know. This is how they've been eating and living good. I told you all, your master bond is the one that creates the money. Your promissory note goes with the master bond, which is the birth certificate. Now, in this way, banks begin to create money. See right there, see? Create money off your master bond, your signature, with the straw man name that you impersonated. More notes to be issued than the gold and coins on hand, because only a portion of the notes outstanding would be presented for payments at any one time. Enough metallic money had to be kept on hand, of course, to redeem whatever volume of notes was presented for payments. So this is why under Roosevelt, when they came up with the scheme of using the notes to create money out of thin air, that's when they confiscated your gold and silver. Because they came up with that scheme. Enough metallic money had to be kept on hand, of course, to redeem whatever volume of notes was presented for payment. Transaction deposits are the modern counterpart of bank notes. See, they love them deposits. This is what keeps them eating good. Get your deposits. But since you're going to learn how to do banking, oh, that's going to be a problem now. Because the slaves are waking up. And Pharaoh don't like it. And I'm not talking about no Pharaoh in no Bible either. I'm talking about that District of Columbia doing business as a United States corporation. That's the Pharaoh. It was a small step from printing notes to making book entries crediting deposits of borrowers, which the borrower in turn could spend by writing checks, thereby printing their own money. See what they just said? But these slick bastards, now y'all used to write them checks, and they stopped sending you the checks back. Why? It's because you never restricted them. You didn't put no restriction on the check. So when they came up with that scheme, that was money to them. Oh yeah, because they had your signature and everything. So that was another way of making money off them checks that you gave them. That's why you never got the checks back. Now, family, listen. You all in the valley of decision. You all either gonna get in the game, or you're going to be on the sideline shaking the pom-poms. But either way, you're going to have to make a decision. And what I'm trying to tell you, you need to be in that trust, everything completed, and you must do the promissory note. And I got to show you all how to do that. Now, what I wanted to tell you all, I filed 3 promissory notes already. One in my county of birth and didn't have no problems. One in Palm Beach County, which is my county of birth, Broward County, and Volusia's County, which I just went the other day. That's where I got the property at. So I'm going to go and recoup all of those securities. They've been right. And furthermore, you are going to have to backdate your promissory note. What I mean by backdate, you're going to have to find you a good notary that will do that for you. Can't be one of them been around 3-4 years. You got to need somebody to go back. I know they go all the way back to 1971. You got to backdate them so you can be first in time, first in line to get those securities. Because they've been writing them damn securities ever since we were babies. And I would say 18, we were supposed to came, that is the age of majority. I call it maturity. But I would say somewhere put it between 25 and up. But you got to have your good notary, and you're going to also have to have your CPA. Because the CPA going to have to get you your funds from your best friend, the IRS. So, you all have always been given money. Hope that's not shocking to you, but that's what's been happening. All of our life, we've been bankers giving these crooks money, credit, and look how they turn it around on us. Give you an application, which they know that's going to be a security, because they know you're going to put that name, that in legis name, straw man, and give them that social security number. Social mean public, and security is self-explanatory. So public securities, every time you issue that social security, you was giving them public security attached to your master bond. And this is how they been able to create that currency and credit. On that note, Brother Hank, you got any questions?
Oh man, that's enough, brother. They should listen to this show several times. Again, Mr. Bay 33169 at gmail.com. Some of y'all actually text me for his information. 786-624-8257. And for those generous at heart, Cash App, $Moors 33054, Alfred Thompson. That's an excellent presentation, Professor.
Thank you, sir. And Brother Hank, I want them to know they need to go out and pull out that National Currency Act, and you need to read it. You really seriously need to read the Currency Act. We're going to do a show on it.
Sounds
good. I
good.
have to read it and break it down.
All right. The title is very appropriate for this show. Your bank is the devil.
I knew you was going to concoct up something.
Thank you again, Professor.
Thank you, sir.
And good night to all till next week. Peace.
Say often, yes, I am. Supreme shield of protection surrounding me. Yes, I am. Yes, I am remembering all I was born to do. Yes, I am. take hold of your crystal, which will magnify your I am affirmations at least 600%. If you don't have a pistol, you better have